Hi, I'm Carrie with Schmidt's Music, and I'm going to show you how to put together your clarinet and just some basics of taking care of it. So the first part is you want to make sure that your case is lying correctly so that your clarinet doesn't tumble out. Every latch is a little bit different, but all of the external latches have something in common. I have several different brands, just so you can see. All of the external latches, meaning they're on the outside, are going to flip up. All of these are the same way. And then you can see the clarinet is lying how it should. Another rule of thumb is to make sure the brand is visible. All of these have the brand on top. With the Yamaha, the brand is right here, and the latches are not on the outside. They are on the inside. So you want to make sure that you can read the brand clearly, and it isn't upside down. And then you just carefully push it, and there you go. Everything is as it should be. Now that our clarinets are lying correctly, let's look at all the pieces. So you have your bell, you have the lower joint. You can always tell because it has these two keys right here on the side. You have your upper joint that has this bunch of keys on the right. You have the barrel, and you have the mouthpiece. As you can see from here, the instrument gets bigger as you go down. There's a lot of sciencey stuff behind that, but we won't get into that here. It just makes it a lot easier whenever you're putting it together to remember. It gets bigger as you get farther down. Now, the rest of the items we're going to be using today to put together your clarinet is a tube of cork grease that looks like chapstick. You don't want to use it on your lips though. You will need a reed so that you can play it, and then you will need a swab for when we're done playing. So, you will see several corks on your instrument, and before you begin, especially if you have a new one, you will want to grease all your corks. So you'll take the lid off, and you're just going to put a little bit on your finger. You can't really see it, but you can definitely feel it. And you just rub it on the corks, nice and easy and evenly. And that just makes sure that it's a lot easier for your clarinet to go together. You always apply it to your finger instead of directly on the cork. That way you can control how much is used on your instrument. You don't want it to get greasy. All right, now that the corks are greased, I'm going to assemble it in two halves, and then we'll put those two halves together. If your band director tells you to do something different, do what your director says. This is just what works for me. First, take the bell and the lower joint. The lower joint is easy to identify because it has these two big keys on the bottom, and it has the thumb rest on the back. And remember, it gets bigger as you go towards the bottom, so the larger end will go into the bell, like so. Notice how I'm holding it right over these keys. You don't want to hold it right here because you don't want to bend or break any of the keys. So you want to hold it firmly, but not too tightly. And you don't want to use any hard jerking or twisting motions because that's how you can bend the keys as well. Once you have that together, set that down, grab the barrel and the upper joint. Now remember, the clarinet gets bigger as you go along, so you want to put the larger part of the barrel to the smaller part of the upper joint. Just carefully hold it and twist it on. If you find that any of the pieces aren't wanting to go together smoothly, stop, apply a bit more cork grease, and then try again. If you continue to have issues, see your band director or your local music store or repair shop. You do not want to force anything. Now that you have these two parts, grab the two halves. This is the only very tricky part. You want to push these keys down, and notice how it lifts up that key right there? That is called the bridge key. And you must push them down, and then carefully twist those pieces together. And then when you release it, it sits perfectly on top. With the bridge key lifted up, you see that it fits nice and snug there, and now you have no issues. If you do not lift that up, you will bend it, and then your instrument won't work, and you have to take it to the shop before you get to play a note. Now, we are almost finished. So I want you to take the mouthpiece, go ahead and loosen those screws, and take the ligature off. Then, since we've already greased that cork, you're going to put it on top of the barrel. You want the open side on the same side as the single key here and the thumb rest. Now, You want to look and make sure that all of your keys are lined up, which if you line the bridge key up correctly, shouldn't be an issue. So, now that your mouthpiece is on there, you want to grab your reed, either from the clear plastic that it comes in, or from a reed guard. Reed guards are a little bit better because you can hold 4 at once. So you take your reed, and you take the flat part, and you line it up directly with the flat part of the mouthpiece. And you make sure it lines up at the top. Then you take your ligature, and you slide it over, and you fit it just where it starts to be unfinished. Tighten it just a little bit so it keeps it from slipping. And then you are finished. You are ready to play. And it sounds like this. Whenever you're finished, the reed always comes off first so it doesn't chip. The reed is very important. If it gets chipped, it will not play right. In fact, I have a chipped reed. You can see that this one right here had a bad life. It's not going to play. So take care of your reeds. So you take your reed off, put it back where it goes, then you remove the mouthpiece, because the mouthpiece, similar to the reed, if this part gets chipped, it's no good anymore. You just have to get a new one. Tighten the screws just a little bit to keep it from getting lost. Put those in the case, and then we're going to swab it. Remember that little green thing from the beginning? This is used to get out excess moisture from the inside. Not spit, just moisture. You want to stretch it out, make sure it unfolds completely, and you can pull it like that just to make sure there's no folds. Then you take the weighted end and drop it in. And then you just pull it through like so. Once is normally enough, but if you really want to feel like it's extra dry, you can run it through again. Then you're ready to take apart the rest of the clarinet. Normally, I start with the bell, pushing down these keys to keep everything from getting bent. Just gently twist it off. Then you hold down these to lift up the bridge key. That's very important, probably the most important part of putting together or taking apart your clarinet. And then you gently twist those parts off. And then gently twist off the barrel. And there you go. It's back in the case. Close it. Always latch it so it doesn't fall out. Stuff like that happens more often than you think. And you're ready to go to your next class. Now that we've put together and taken apart our clarinet, I've summarized the key points from throughout the video for you to remember. While you're learning, it's probably a good idea to write it down so that you can carry it with you to class until you become comfortable with it. But you can always refer back to this video if you forget. Eventually, it will be second nature and you won't have to have any help at all. If this video was helpful, it's really important to us to hear your feedback so that we know that you want to see more of what we're doing. Give us the thumbs up button, or just come down and see us or give us a call. We're right in downtown Pensacola. We are always happy to help, and our professionals are standing by. Thank you and happy practicing.